In the remote corners of Arizona's Navajo Nation, a place steeped in ancient stories and warnings, the summer of 1996 became the backdrop for a chilling encounter. Rachel and Mike, avid adventurers in their early 20s, had heard whispers of strange happenings in the desert, a place where reality twisted and nothing was as it seemed. Ignoring the warnings of the locals, they decided to spend a night camping in a canyon notorious for its unsettling history. The area was beautiful, yet foreboding, with jagged red rocks that seemed to loom over them as the sun dipped below the horizon. Rachel set up their tent while Mike gathered firewood. As darkness fell, the desert came alive with a strange energy. Unlike the familiar chirping of crickets or the distant howl of coyotes, there was only a deafening silence, broken occasionally by an unexplainable rustle in the distance. As the couple sat by the campfire, roasting marshmallows, Rachel couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. "Do you think there's anyone else out here?" she asked, her voice tinged with unease. Mike laughed nervously. "Just us and the stars." But deep down he felt it too, the unnerving sense of another presence. Around midnight, just as the fire began to die, a sound broke through the silence. It was faint at first, like twigs snapping underfoot. Rachel froze, gripping Mike's arm. "Did you hear that?" Mike nodded, shining his flashlight into the darkness. The beam of light swept over the rocks and sand until it caught something, a figure standing on the ridge above them. It was humanoid but wrong. Its limbs were long and angular, and its head tilted unnaturally to one side. It stood perfectly still, watching. "Who's there?" Mike shouted, but the figure didn't respond. Instead, it crouched low, its body contorting in ways that defied nature before vanishing into the shadows. Rachel's breathing quickened. "We need to leave," she whispered. But before they could move, a voice echoed through the canyon. "Help me," it was Rachel's voice, trembling and desperate. Mike turned to her in confusion. "What the hell is going on?" "I don't know, but that's not me," Rachel whispered, her eyes wide with terror. The voice came again, closer this time. It was joined by another, a perfect imitation of Mike calling out from the darkness. "Don't leave me." They scrambled into their tent, zipping it shut and holding their breaths. Something began circling the campsite. They could hear heavy footsteps, and then something brushed against the fabric of the tent. "Let's go to the car," Rachel whispered. Mike nodded, unzipping the tent just enough to peek outside. The flashlight flickered, casting erratic shadows across the rocks. The figures were gone, but deep footprints surrounded the camp, too large to be human. They sprinted to the car, hearts pounding. As Mike started the engine, the headlights illuminated a figure standing in the road. It looked like Rachel, but its face was hollow, its smile wide and unnaturally stretched. Mike floored the gas, swerving around the figure as it let out a shrill, inhuman scream. When they finally reached safety, the couple vowed never to return, but the encounter left its mark. To this day, Rachel and Mike claim they're not alone. Sometimes, late at night, they hear their own voices calling from the shadows, begging for help. The Navajo elders, when told of the story, offered a grave warning. Once a skinwalker marks you, it never truly lets go. Think you'd survive a night like this? Subscribe for more terrifying tales, because the unknown might already be watching.